Invite Brad Oaks Elementary School to the podium to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't need it. Principal Nichols.
Good evening, Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Trozian, and cabinet members. I am Mrs. Nichols, the proud principal of Brad Oaks Elementary School, and with me tonight are two Bobcat MEO athletes, Isabel Kalanjian and Lucas Munoz. They will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, my name is Isabel.
And my name is Lucas. Okay. And we would like to share you what we like about MEO. MEO stands for Monrovia Elementary Olympics.
The race I'm participating in is the 4x400 meter relay.
The race I'm participating in is the 4x100 meter relay. Some of my favorite events are smash ball, volleyball bump, and softball throw.
My favorite is also volleyball bump and the 1-minute basketball shoot. We had to try out for a spot on the team. I wanted to be on the team because I thought it would be fun and I wanted to show everyone how fast I was.
I wanted to be on the team because I'm very competitive and I love sprinting. I think it's important to have MEO games because of the teamwork it takes, and I think it's an opportunity to show our talents.
We really look forward to participating in MEOs, and we want to thank you for providing this opportunity. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Wait, Isabel, Lucas, come back. Guys, get participation. So there you go. We're gonna hold it this way. You're gonna go shake hands. Okay, and then you're gonna get a picture. Okay, there you go.
All right, thanks. I'm looking forward to MEO games and the competitive spirit out there. That's great. Roll call will show that all members are present. And for the closed session today, we talked about some personnel issues, some possible pending litigation things, and superintendent goals, but we took no official action. Excuse me. Order of business, are there any changes to the order of business today?
There are, President Gilliland. We will be moving board business agenda in the action number 9, facility naming of the library, to follow consent. In addition, we will be moving action items 4 and 5 out of business services to follow the facility naming at the library.
All right. I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the February 27th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please take the vote, Ms. Huff.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Could I have a motion for the minutes of the March 1st meeting?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we'll move on to the other fun part of the agenda, and we'll get to the Board of Education and Chamber of Commerce recognition of the recipients for the Monrovia School District's Employee of the Month for the month of March. Dr. T, you want to introduce?
Actually, will do the honors, Dr. T.
Okay.
Board President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Tarosian, members of the community. This evening, we are honored to celebrate our exceptional classified and certificate employees of the month for their commitment to our community, the district, and most importantly, our students. In recognition of their service, they will receive tokens of appreciation from the Board of Education, Chamber of Commerce, and the Foothill Federal Credit Union. So with no further ado, I'm going to call Principal Jay Nichols from Brad Oaks to the podium.
Good evening. I am so honored to be given this recognition. Beside me is Markana Madison. She is our 5th grade teacher. She has been at Brad Oaks for the past 4 years, and she has taken on many challenges and excelled at them all. She cares deeply about her students and genuinely goes out of her way to go the extra mile and make sure that they succeed. She will do whatever it takes to get her students to learn and to meet those standards and even learn lifelong lessons. She is currently the gate teacher for our school and has developed an effective and exciting program. Miss Madison is a great problem solver and is very creative. She has written, me too. She has written and been awarded grants and helped to get the 5th grade trip to Pali, that Pali trip implemented. She was very instrumental in that. And very instrumental, I need to go back to our GATE program. She has developed it to be more than just a little session. It goes throughout the whole year and connected with the City of Hope and the Tournament of Roses with the robotics and getting people involved. And with MASA, I'm leaving something out. What else was there?
Going to college.
Oh, that's right, college. That's right. So she gets our kids the best experiences possible. And in addition to all of that, technology is her little niche. Everything that she does in the classroom has an element of technology in it. And she is one of our iCoaches on our campus, and that means she helps and trains other teachers on our campus with the skills that they need to implement more technology as a tool in the classrooms. So we do what we call at Brad Oaks Tech Talks, and she and her colleague, fellow iCoach, they will do Tech Talks and teach our teachers different lessons about technology. So one staff member, when they nominated you, I'll say this, she is full of energy and we get to benefit from her knowledge. And she has a wonderful sense of humor. Miss Madison, we thank you for all that you do. Thank you very much. Lucas. I don't see Mr. J, but I'm going to go ahead and read what we have for Mr. J. Lucas. And this one's for me. No. And hold that. Stay up here. You're going to stay with me. All right. So my classified employee of the year is Jesus Jara. We know him as Mr. J. He joined our staff this year and has been a wonderful asset to our playground supervision team. He is a positive presence on the playground and makes a big effort to make sure that all students are involved in an activity during recess. Mr. J has worked hard to implement games for kids to play out on the playground, and the students respect and look up to him. One of the things the staff appreciates about Mr. J is the way he encourages students to do their best and make good choices. This is very hard to do, to build those personal relationships in the short amount of time that he has out on the field, and he does that really well. And although Mr. J has only worked for us at Broad Oaks for this current year, he has volunteered all last year as well. He always lends a hand in any way possible and always has a smile on his face. Last spring, he dedicated time to help and support our MEO team. He even braved the hot temperatures on game day, it was very hot, to wear our beloved mascot Bobcat costume the entire day. Yeah, that was him, and he was very enthusiastic. So Mr. J often stays extra hours to volunteer around campus, and he truly cares about the students and the community. He works hard for the betterment of our students in school, and we are thankful to have him at Broad Oaks. So I don't see him, but when you see Mr. J, please give him a hand and congratulate him. Sinai, come and get a picture. Come on.
Thank you for everything you do. Nice seeing you. So you get sucked in too, right?
And now for our honorees from Clifton Middle School. I see Principal Glass making his way. Yep, and Principal Jackson, Assistant Principal. Okay.
Okay, Jeanette, I warned you. Come join me. Good evening, Board of Education, District Administration, Monrovia community. This is one of my favorite times of year when we get to celebrate some very special people. And the reason why they're so special is that these two people were overwhelmingly chosen by the staff to receive this award. So this is not handpicked by your administration. This is something that speaks volume to the work that they do at Clifton. And so tonight we are honoring this teacher standing next to me, magnificent teacher, Jeanette Bacchus. Jeanette, by far, is one of the most caring and compassionate educators I have ever met. She serves as our SELPA, moderate to severe special needs teacher. The amazing students in her class come with a variety of needs and abilities, and she has made it her passion to ensure constant learning, continual growth, and a pursuit of independence for every child with every moment she spends with them. Our parents are immediately comforted when they meet Jeanette because she offers a sense of calm and support to all that enter her environment. She's immediately trusted and becomes part of their families because of her innate ability to give more than what is expected of her job. I can honestly say that her job could be one of the most complex and challenging at our school, and she handles the task with grace. Some of her colleagues share. She's compassionate, hardworking, creative, driven, intelligent, selfless, dedicated to her craft, a lifelong learner, never complains, a leader, and she always has her mind focused on what to accomplish next. Just walking into her classroom gives any newcomer a perfect picture of how much she cares about her craft and her students. Parents invite her to birthday parties, family events, and they feel comfortable and at ease when their kids are at our school. Jeanette knows her students beyond and better than anyone. She goes the extra mile in communicating with families to ensure that her students have adequate support at school and at home. Her students leave her class with new skills and abilities that even their families have been surprised by. While preparing for this moment tonight, Jeanette approached me and asked if I could thank her team. Does that not speak volumes to who she is? So these are Jeanette's words. She would like to thank her team for all the hard work and effort they put into the class each and every day. She is thankful for the support they provide her, each other, and the students. It is a pleasure to come to work every day feeling supported and with a smile on each person's face. She couldn't be more grateful to be working with such amazing people. Tonight, Jeanette is joined by her new husband, Jeff Wallach, and Clifton employee, and her soon-to-be baby, due in July, along with family, friends, and staff members who adore her. On behalf of the Clifton staff faculty, tonight we honor you, Jeanette, as our 2019 Employee of the Month. Our classified Employee of the Month is Enrique Samuta. Many of you know, yeah, go ahead, you can clap, you all know him. Many of you might not know this, but Mr. Samuta absolutely does not like recognition, and so he would not cooperate and come tonight. But that did not stop me from bringing him here. Someone at Clifton, can you get this on camera? We must show him tomorrow. Okay, good. So I think many of you have probably come in contact with Mr. Samuta if you've spent any time at Clifton or even the district office in his previous role. But I will personally say he is my rock, but more importantly, he means so much to so many. In the words of our staff, Enrique greets us with a smile, asks about our day, and is willing to stop whatever he's doing to help us with a question, a student, a parent, or whatever the issue might be. He is kind, friendly, and always eager to support the staff daily. He is one of the most hardworking, most dedicated, and kindest people I have ever met in my life. Enrique takes pride in everything that he does. To say that he goes above and beyond is an understatement. He is dedicated, kind, and does not hesitate to help wherever he can. Enrique is always willing to help and always goes the extra mile. He arrives early and leaves late, shows his dedication to our parents, students, and staff. Enrique stays calm and finds a solution for the constant changes that are thrown his way. If we actually paid Enrique for all of the hours he works, we probably couldn't afford him. His dedication, work ethic, and calm problem-solving approach speaks volumes to all of us. Mr. Samuta works very hard every single day, constantly caring and helping others. I can honestly say I wouldn't be here without his help, and for that I am grateful. He always makes you feel welcome, a bright spot in the life of a teacher at Clifton, always has time for you and treats for you with the utmost respect with his caring nature. And Renaissance leadership could not function without him. He goes above and beyond for us on a daily basis. So without a doubt, and even though that man would not cooperate tonight, we struck gold in the hiring of Enrique Samuta, and we honor him tonight as our other 2019 Employee of the Month. Picture? Go ahead. Picture. Yes. Hold Enrique, please. That'd be great. Do you have a certificate? Yep. Okay. Do we want to hold it up? We'll hold it for him.
All right, next we would like to, I'm going to read this the way it was written on our agenda. We would like to commend Major Ken Singleton, Logistics Officer, as he resumes his commitment to protect and serve our country in the United States Army. So we would love to recognize you. We're going to sure miss you. Ms. Wu, would you do the honors?
Mr. Singleton, can you join me on the podium? Good evening, Board President Gilliland, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Torosian, Cabinet members, staff, and communities. Tonight, we honor Mr. Ken Singleton, our very own Food Service Director, for his dedication, loyalty, and his service to our country. Many of you are aware that Ken served as a major in United States Army Reserve while in Port full-time with the district. During the 08-09 school year, Ken was called to active military duty and was deported to Afghanistan. Most recently, in 16-17, he was called to active duty and was stationed in Honduras for a year. Now again, Ken's military service are needed, and he is scheduled to deployment at the end of this month. And he was stationed in Kuwait for 400 days. I would like to take this time to thank him for his hard work and dedication to Monrovia Unified School District as the Director of Food Service. He does a great job in supporting our students every day by learning and creating programs that offer nutritious food. On behalf of Monrovia Unified School District, I would like to thank Major Singleton for his service and dedication for our great country. So, Mr. Singleton, we have a certificate for you here, and as our board president already mentioned, so I will not read it, but we have some special things for you. The first thing that we have a book for you. The book was written by #1 New York Times bestseller by 4-star Admiral William McCurvey. Make your bed, little things that can change your life and maybe the world. And this book is signed by our Board of Education, Cabinet, every single management of this district, as well as full service employee and managers. So we will have some special sweet things for you. As many of us we know that the movie Forrest Gump say that life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you are going to get. We don't know when Ken will get in Kuwait, but we do know that Monrovia Unified School is always his sweet homes. So what we did is me and the food service lady, we bought a 12 box of chocolate, and we decorate each chocolate with themes. This is chocolate for the Halloween month, so he is only allowed to eat during the Halloween month. So, Alex, I would let you explain because you did all the work. Yeah.
My daughter
Yeah.
and I did this. Okay, so we wrapped 12 boxes, one for each month that he's going to be gone. So this is, as Connie mentioned, Halloween. And I wrote a little thing under here. This is Easter, trying to make it look like a bunny, but it doesn't really look like a bunny. January, Happy New Year. This is one for his birthday. 4th of July, just like a firecracker.
I'm not going to have any room
Thanksgiving.
for my gear.
Probably just open this just because. St. Patrick's Day, got little shamrocks on everywhere. This is Easter, like a little yellow egg. Valentine's Day. So Oh, this was supposed to be Christmas, but the show's all smooshed, but Christmas. And finally, just because, you know, we're gonna miss him a lot.
All right, we have wonderful staff to carry on in this district, but we definitely will miss you, Ken, and appreciate all you do for us. We will move on to board member reports. Ms. Lockerbie, I believe you have a report.
Just a brief one. I wanted to mention that I was able to attend the iCoach Tech Day in-service this past Friday, and I was really impressed with the in-service, that it was peer-to-peer, teachers working with other teachers, and I was most impressed with how absolutely excited the teachers were being there and being part of that in-service, and how many of them I heard from, and how many of them I heard that they were just really excited and loved this in-service more than anything else. So I was really proud and pleased and honored to be able to witness that.
Mr. Rumpke?
Yes, thank you, President Gilliland. I had the pleasure and the privilege, along with Vice President Rob Hammond, to attend PK graduations at several of our school sites, Clifton, Wild Rose, Santa Fe, and Brad Oaks, all within the last couple of weeks. And we had probably easy over 100 graduates between those sites. So PK stands for Parent Institute of Quality Education, and it's a great program that we've had here in the district. And I congratulate all those that took the time to take the 9-week course for the betterment of their children, so that they could understand the school system a little bit better and help them navigate through the school system as they go through to hopefully go to college and off to other things besides Monrovia Unified. So I really enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed hearing the parents' stories, and I could relate to a lot of those stories. And it was very, very special. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple of shout outs here. The board has accomplished our board walks at Canyon Oaks Mountain Park and Adult School. We went to Monrovia High School. We went to Clifton Middle School. And we feel it's extremely important for this board to get out, get in classrooms, talk to administrators, and make sure we have a finger on the pulse of what's going on in Monrovia High School. And it's so much fun to go out there and see all the excitement in our classrooms, to see what good things are going on in the class. And I want to thank all of those schools for the work that was put into it by the staff, the students, and all of those that were involved in making our boardwalks not only successful but fun. So thanks so much to those three schools. We'll move on to our report from our student board member. Ms. Maya from the high school is here with us tonight.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk about Monrovia High School. Monrovia High's ASB will be hosting Togetherness Week this upcoming week. This is a great opportunity for our student-run clubs to share club information with good food. All students during this extended lunch will have the opportunity on Tuesday and Thursday. Did you know we have over 40 active clubs and organizations on campus? We want the kids to get connected, and this week is a great example of the diversity of our clubs. Also, MHS will also have its WASC accreditation March 17th through 20th. We are also encouraging students to participate in our blood drive March 21st. Monrovia High School presents In the Heights March 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th at 7 p.m. in the Lewis K. Taylor Performing Arts Center. Students can buy tickets from any cast member for $10, and general admission is available online for $15. We also have two students here tonight giving more information later on. The annual Monrovia Elementary Olympics are also known as the MEOs will be hosted at Monrovia High School March 28th. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
And I assume if someone does want to participate in that blood drive, they can just go to the front office at the high school and be directed from there to the blood drive. That's correct? Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate your report. All right, we'll move on to Dr. Therosian and the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Gilliland. Members of the board, I'd like to invite Principal, actually Director of our Alternative Education Program, Mr. Flint Fertig, to give us a brief overview of the time that we spent on his wonderful campus.
Good morning. Sorry. Good evening, President Gilliland, members of the board, Dr. Therosian, and Cabinet. We were honored, as Dr. Therosian said, to have the board and Cabinet visit us on our boardwalk last Friday. And to be very brief, it was a very successful walk in the sense that I think our staff wanted me to relay to you guys that they value all of your presence on the campus and felt that it was an extremely positive and good opportunity for you guys to see some of the things that are going on. We really have a wonderful campus there at Canyon Oaks Mountain Park and the adult school. Our focus is literacy, and with the students that we get who usually are behind in credits, we wanted to continue that focus. We also focus on career pathways for students, giving them opportunities outside of the box so that they can find success and be contributing members of society. We focus on those kids. They're what matters most, and I think that you guys were able to feel that as you walked those classrooms and saw the dedication of the staff, the people that are there. As it says kind of in this presentation, the vast majority of our students come to Canyon Oaks are in danger of not graduating, and the vast majority of them are put on the right path and do graduate, and we are very proud of that opportunity. Kids come first, and I think if you continue to watch what we do, you'll see that we approach this as a family environment. Monrovia is a special place to us working here. Many of us live here. And these students we feel are ours. And I think that's part of the culture that you feel when you walk on this campus is we own them, they're ours. And we want them to trust us. We have programs and things that show the love for them. Our mentorship program, Thanksgiving, many of you have been for that. Our athletics league, in which we think we're going to take home for the third consecutive year the league championship for all four sports. We're very excited about that. Soccer's our weak link, so it's still up in the air. Community volunteers, later on in our meeting today, we're going to have a chance to hopefully honor somebody who's a big part of that, who's come to Canyon Oaks. The community has always given back to us. They recognize what we do, they recognize and own those kids there, and they give their time and their resources to help them. Our students are accepted to some of the most prestigious universities in the world, and they don't have to have movie star parents to get there. Shouldn't have said that, but that happens because of their hard work and the work of our staff and faculty to create that opportunity. Our career pathways, we're just lucky. We're lucky that the foresight of our past people in this district had the ability to put the adult ed and the alternative programs together on one campus. Because the reality is our students benefit from being able to walk across the hall and see opportunities where they can learn, grow, and earn a living. The most important thing you can give a kid, this is true, learned this from our city leaders when we were first putting this together, is a job. Nothing makes them hold their head higher. Nothing makes them see the potential that they have than when they are able to contribute to their family's financial needs. It changes them. It's a game changer. And we've created programs that give them not just part-time or easy, but jobs where they can actually progress and have a career. And we're very proud of that. With that focus, we still have an absolute focus on our classroom. When you walk through Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park schools, you will see and feel a very, very strong focus on the fact that our classrooms do not cut corners. These kids are learning, they're growing, they're meeting the state standards, and they're able to perform at a very high level. Our teachers have pride in their instruction. Another kind of shout out to the staff development day that we just had. If you walked around, one of the things I was most proud of in that staff development day as I went is I noticed in every single one of those breakout sessions, our teachers, felt to me a little bit biased, were leading the way. They were in there showing, speaking out with positive reinforcement, helping other teachers understand what was happening and why and how it related to what was going on in their classrooms. And I was very proud and glad to be able to see that. We're grateful for our district staff. I would be remiss if I didn't say things like ERWC and DBQ that we've adopted to help with our literacy came from this district office as they work to assist us and help us find things that worked for our kids. Our adult school is big. Biggest school in the district. People don't know that, but we serve 2,520 students so far this year. Same kinds of things. We are looking at pathways. We're looking at educational programs. We also serve our high school students in credit recovery and give them every opportunity to be successful in our community. The certification programs that are listed there, everyone's familiar with, and that's growing. We have Mr. Russell, who couldn't be here tonight because he's at a meeting downtown where we're looking to add cybersecurity and security as certificated pathway programs that the state will pay for and fund within our district. About 300 students annually are served in our one-stop, and we focus on that job training. Our English proficiency scores are through the roof. We're actually the highest in the San Gabriel Valley right now for graduating ESL students, and that's been a definite thing that we didn't see coming, but are grateful for that opportunity. Grateful again for you guys taking time to be there, and very proud of our schools, very, very proud of the staff that I lead. I can't say it enough, and I think you guys know how much I respect and honor those teachers that are there. They give and give and give, and the classified staff as well. It's a tremendous team, so thanks for coming and being part of it.
Like I said a little while ago, Mr. Fertig, you guys did a great job hosting us. I think this community as a whole doesn't quite know what a wonderful resource we have over there. From the adult school that has certification programs where a person can be trained in different job skills and get a certificate in it, walk in and get a job in those fields. We have the alternative school where those with different needs for different schedules, different educational styles can go over there, K-12, and the continuation school. I will never forget the folks on the accreditation committee that came to our continuation school and basically said, you guys are lying to us because it's not possible to do what you say you're doing in a continuation school. But they are. They're doing things that are not happening in any other continuation school, high school in California. And we applaud you guys and appreciate you guys. So thanks for the report. All right, with that, we'll move on to public comments. If you would like to address the board, please make sure you filled out a form and given it to Ms. Huff so that we can get you on either for public comments for items not on the agenda, or even if you want to talk to an item that is on the agenda, give her one of those cards or sheets of paper. We'll take public comments for items not on the agenda first, And I'm going to read that. I've been reading this pretty consistently because it's a new statement for us, but it kind of explains where we're at with items not on the agenda. In compliance with the Brown Act, items not on the agenda legally cannot be discussed by the board tonight. We welcome your input, but are limited to asking clarifying questions, gathering contact information. Items that require board discussion or action will have to be calendared for future meetings so that all interested parties may attend and participate. We welcome those comments tonight. Ms. Huff, do we have some speakers?
Yes,
I
Board
think
President.
I see a lot of black shirts, so I'm pretty sure we have someone that would like to speak.
Yes, Board President Gilliland, I'd like to invite Keely Milliken to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Keely Milliken, and as you see, we have around 44 students heading up to perform a number for you this evening from our upcoming musical at Clifton Middle School, High School Musical Junior. I guess junior high, high school, we'll call it High School Musical Junior. My name, again, is Keely Milliken, and I am a proud Monrovia alum. Graduated from Clifton in 1988 and now am back this year directing High School Musical through my nonprofit here in Monrovia called Center Stage, and we are excited to partner together. And they're going to show you about a minute of one of the parts of the opening number from High School Musical. We like to invite you and the community out to see them perform next Thursday and Friday night on March 21st and 22nd. All right, I know you're all squished. You can move forward a little bit. It's okay. You're starting in your groups. All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It was like a dream. I made a New Year's resolution to call and ask her out. This year I know it's gonna happen for me. I didn't know it before, but now it's easy to see. It's the start of something new. It feels so right to be here with you. Oh, and now I can reach the skies. I feel in my heart that it's the start of something new. It feels so right to be here with you. Oh, and now I can realize I feel in my heart. Start of something new. Oh, the start of something new. Oh, the start of something new. Oh, the start of something For many of the students, this is their first time ever being in a musical, so we hope that you come out, fill the auditorium, and support them as they are up there making a difference and having a wonderful time at it. So we would love to get a little group photo, and we have complimentary tickets for all of our board members and staff to enjoy the performance.
That's okay. I know what I'm gonna like. Thank you,
Oh, wait.
If you don't, Ann does.
All the kids kind of lean in and bend so they can see the adults in the back. Perfect.
Oh, thank you.
I got mine. I think everybody else.
All right, really looking forward to seeing that presentation. Appreciate Keely for helping out with that and directing that. We have such great partnerships in this community, so thanks to everyone involved with that. All righty. Thanks again. All right, other comments?
Yes, Board President Gilliland. The next request to speak comes from Emily Krause and Eve Terrell.
Don't you hate to have to follow that?
Yeah.
But we appreciate you being here.
I know, yeah. We don't have anything prepared.
I know. Well, my name is Eve Terrell, and this is...
I'm Emily Krause.
And we are delegates of the International Thespian Society at Monrovia High School. And for this, our spring production is going to be In the Heights. So.
And if you haven't heard of In the Heights, maybe you have heard of Hamilton. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Hamilton, also did In the Heights. This was his first production.
And it also won several Tony Awards.
It won a lot. It won like 9. Yeah. It is the inspiring story of an intercity community that learns to find hope and strength despite their circumstances or the troubles that life throws at them. And it's pretty fun. Like, if we do it right, like, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry, like, you're gonna have so much fun. Yeah. And I think we will do it right. It's been so far so good. Yeah.
Well, we have invitations to all of you that we'd like to give out. So
yes, and it is
March 22nd, 23rd, and 29th and 30th. So this next weekend and the weekend after that.
The weekend after.
At 7 p.m. And you can get tickets at...
You can come to the door.
Yes.
For adult tickets are $15 and student tickets.
Or you could order online if that's...
Yeah, student tickets. Student tickets or tickets for kids are $10, so it's a lower price.
Kids count people under 18, so anything over that is adults.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks. It's another one I'm really looking forward to, and I'm pretty sure you guys will do it right. So.
You know, as they distribute the tickets, I just want to say that I saw them auditioning on Friday during that student-free day, and they were extraordinary in the quad over there. Yeah, it was. You guys were great.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you so much. Any more comments?
There are none.
None?
None.
Oh, okay. Are there any comments for items that are on the open session agenda?
There are none.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to informational reports and presentations. Dr. Kaiser, would you tell us about summer school coming up this year?
Board President Gilliland, Board, Dr. Trosian, I am pleased to share with you what our plans are for the summer programs this summer. We have a robust palette of opportunities for our students. The first one that I'd like to talk about is Junior Camp Read a Lot. This is for students that are from first through third grade that need a little bit of extra help with their skills and their fluency in reading. And these students come and they enjoy 4 weeks of intensive work but it's delivered in a camp setting so that it is a lot of fun. And we've had tremendous success in helping our students, our youngsters who need to close the gap. We are going to also be running Camp Read a Lot for our students in 4th and 5th grade. And these students are, again, students who are having some difficulty in reading during the school year. And we bring them together, give them a full palette of fun, engaging activities, along with exactly what they need in the areas of reading and writing. And this will happen between June 13th to July 11th. We have a program called Camp Infinity for 4th through 8th grade, and this is also in a camp setting, and this is for our students who need a little extra help in the area of math. We have teachers that will be specially trained in helping students to close the achievement gap that they're having in math, and they will be put into smaller class sizes. The program will run from June 13th to July 11th in the mornings, and they will be going on a couple of very engaging field trips, along with lots of 4 hours a day of learning math. Last year and the year before, our students who came to Camp Infinity, we tested them the first day and the last day of camp. They grew 18 months in 4 weeks. And the first year that happened, we thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. For it to happen 2 years in a row, the same number of growth months, we know that we can repeat that same performance again. For our 6th through 8th grade students who are English language learners, we're running an English language intervention class for them. And that'll be, again, in the same window, June 13th to July 11th. For our 9th graders that are going from 8th grade to 9th grade, our English language learners, they will have a bridge program helping them to assimilate to the rigors of the high school English programs. And then in our summer school, for our high school students, grades 9 through 12, we'll have 2 terms. And this is in partnership with Citrus College, where our students who are deplete in credits can come and make up credits. There will be 2 terms in the summer where they can make up 2 full courses. And then we have course offerings for students that would like to take a course in the summer, opening up their schedules during the school year. And here is the list of courses that are offered for our high school students. And then in our special ed department, they have their extended school year that runs June 13th through July 11th. And this is extending their individual education plans through the summer so that their services are continuous and they don't end. So that concludes our report on our summer school offerings. It is a very robust palette. Any questions?
So if parents are interested in enrolling their students in this, do they go to the school site? Do they come here? Where do they get that information and sign up their students?
Because these programs are all intervention programs in the elementary levels, they're all by invitation. So the students who qualify, who are their skills are running below average, they will be receiving invitations. And for the extended school year, that will be through their individual education plan. For the high school programs, those are open to all students, and there will be information going out to all high school students for the credit recovery and the course offerings.
And that sign up will be handled at the high school, I assume.
Right.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaiser, for this presentation and for, I'm really appreciative of the junior camp read a lot for the incoming 1st through 3rd graders, because the earlier the intervention, the better. And I'm really appreciative of having this be installed. Because we were earlier talking about our budget and talking about summer school and the campuses for summer school, is that part of that consideration?
Yes, so there are many programs, as you can see. So we will be running more than one program on one campus, so several of these programs will be occurring. We have not made the final selections of the campuses that will house these programs as of yet.
So when the invitations go out to the students, it will let parents know. Will
Yes.
they have a choice of campuses, or will it likely be just one?
It will be just one.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Move consent. Second.
Any questions, comments? Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
With that, we'll move on to the item for naming the library at Canyon Oaks High School with Dr. Therosian.
President Gilliland, members of the board, we have received a request from Mr. Fertig on behalf of the team over at Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park to rename their library. And really what I'd like is for Principal Fertig to share his thoughts and make the request formally to you as per our board policy.
During the Korean War, Bruce Stoller, a very young kid in our community at the time, got an assignment to climb up the mountain, and there was a trail that went up there, and there was a lookout tower, and he and other kids were actually given the assignment to look for incoming aircraft. After what had happened in World War II, our country was very much on edge about protecting the Pacific, and at that time, even at a young age, Bruce Stoller was looking out and protecting Monrovia. And I would like to submit that he continues to do that today in a very different way. Our students are simply enriched because of Bruce Stoller in their lives. I can't think of an honor that I've ever stood before anybody any time that was more deserved than this. So I mean everything I'm saying with complete sincerity when I say that we are honored to bring this library before you. You guys know what it is. Many of you have watched it grow. When I came 13 years ago, there were 4 bookshelves in there and a bunch of boxes of books that had been discarded by friends of Mr. Stoller. Now, Mary Ellen, his beautiful, lovely wife, who tragically we lost at the beginning of this year, was in there, and she was nagging Bruce pretty hard and telling him he needed to get on this and that things were incorrect and that needed to go this way. I was brand new. And I went in and said, okay, so what are we doing here, and who are you? And so she told me right off exactly what was happening. She goes, well, I know you're new, but we're going to have a library here. I can't stop him. That was her words. And the two of them began to donate their time, their resources. They would go to book fairs. They would go to the library when there were cast-offs there. They went to the Monrovia Schools Foundation again and again and again. And we currently have the second biggest library in this district of over 5,500 volumes. And they're not just books. They're books that fit the state standards and the curriculum, because Mary Ellen saw to that. Now, Bruce has a few of his favorites in there that he'll put out that don't quite fit the state standards. They're all appropriate. But sometimes Bruce will say, hey, every single kid between the ages of 16 to 17 needs to know this. Or if you don't know this about your blood type, you've got a problem. This is later in their health. And so Bruce will feature things. They've been much more than just that. There are many, many students, as you know, from Canyon Oaks who were first-generation college attenders. Bruce has seen to it that not one of those students ever has had to pay for their application to college. There have been many other contributors, but Bruce personally, many times, through the foundation other times, and through friends, if you've ever heard of the class of 57, they fund many, 54, so sorry, no, 57. 54, they fund many scholarships. Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park students very rarely have to pay for college applications. Many of them receive thousands of dollars in scholarships. When you're a first-generation university attender, there's a lot of cultural changes and things that you have to kind of bring to your family. The travel, the moving, the great expenses. Easing that on these kids so they can be successful when they hit there has been a huge part of what he's done. With our focus as a school on literacy, Bruce's work is indispensable. having that library, having him understand the culture of our school, the mentorship he's done is he's taken young kids one by one. I remember I had some kids I was suspending that were in there one day, and one of the kids came out of there and said, I don't know what's up with Santa Claus in there telling us something. And the other kid said, shut up, that's our librarian, he's a stud. So I almost had to separate them again as they were about to get in trouble. And I said, he's right, you better take some time. Our drama program actually did a thing where they actually took Bruce's life and put it into about a 45-minute drama play that they wrote and acted in. And it brought me to tears as I realized more than ever the service and time that both Bruce and his lovely, lovely wife, Mary Ellen, have given to our school. For 13 years that I've been there, Bruce has given no less than 20 hours a week serving as our full-time librarian. I don't know anybody who volunteers more time. So I am grateful and honored to stand here, still guarding Monrovia, just like he did when he was a kid from that tower. If there's a kid that needs it, if there's a kid who's an outcast, Bruce finds them, he brings them in, and Bruce has brought literacy to the forefront in our school in a way that you couldn't, if we didn't have him, we could not do the things that we do. So it is my honor to submit before you that we rename the library at Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park the Bruce and Mary Ellen Stoller Library. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mr. Furtick. Comments? Mr. Hammond.
Only one. I only wish that Mary Ellen were here to see this, Bruce. I think it's right and fitting that when a person has given so much to their community, they should be able to experience the joy from having the thing named after them while they're still here. Because then you really know how much you mattered and we cared. And so I'm super happy to look at this tonight, and I thank Mr. Furtick for bringing it to our attention. But Bruce, the thanks goes to you. I've known you for a long time, and you have always been a champion of this town and everybody in it. And this is a way to give a little something back to you. Thank you.
Other comments? I just want to say, Bruce, that, and to the public, that Bruce and Mary Ellen have given so much, and Flint made reference to a lot of it, but Bruce was instrumental in the Monrovia Schools Foundation for so long. And appreciate everything you guys have done. And I second what Mr. Hammond just said about how much we appreciate you. Wish Mary Ellen was here, and think it's only fitting to make sure you know how much we appreciate you. So, other comments or questions? Could I have a motion, please?
I will move that we name the library at Canyon Oaks High School the Bruce and Mary Ellen Stoller Library.
I second with enthusiasm.
All right. Ms. Huff, would you take the vote?
Board Member Hammonds?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Absolutely.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right. We have a new name for our library there. Thanks so much. Bruce, would you like to say anything since we've got you here? Not half hour, but no. take the time you want, Bruce. We appreciate you. Just joking.
When Mary Ellen and I married, she gave me this wonderful watch, which stopped running about 6 months after we got it.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not going to repair it. I have her piano, that still works. I just want to say that, 30 years, Monrovia Schools Foundation is celebrating its 30th anniversary this month. It's been my pleasure to serve on that board and act as a president and another officer for that amount of time. Equally so, it's been my pleasure to serve the Canyon Oaks Mountain Park students. You never know when you're going to have an effect on somebody. Or how reading will have an effect on you. But I wanted to tell you just one thing. I was reading a book by Kay Redfield Jamison, who's a research psychiatrist, and she, believe it or not, had an alcohol problem also. And so she writes about it in one of her books that we have. and I'm reading it, and she made a statement, wow, drink to cut off the highs. And it just hit me, bam. And I was having trouble with my son, and he had a drinking problem. Smart as a whip, could learn things like that, learn a musical instrument, bam, bam, bam. But the alcohol created problems with him. So I went to him, I said, David, do you drink to cut off the highs? He said, how'd you know, Dad? I said, well, and I told him a little bit. I said, I want you to go to your physician and get referred to a psychiatrist and get a prescription for a drug that will take the place of alcohol to cut off the highs. He did. The first one didn't work, but the second one did. Now he's a very successful businessman, has a successful marriage, has a wonderful stepdaughter in college, and life is sweet for all of us. He's very active in AA, very active in his church, very active in his community. So reading, no matter who it benefits the community. And with that, I'll say thank you very much for your accolade, and I'm sorry Mary Ellen can't be here. Not a day goes by, but I miss her terribly. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and we will look forward to a ceremony to hang a plaque on that library and celebrate that. So with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break and recess, I guess we call it, and we'll be back in approximately 5 minutes. Let's go. Okay, we'll reconvene the board meeting, and we'll take up item 4, which is 18/19/2100. Ms. Wu?
Yes, good evening, Board President Gilliland, Board of Education, Dr. Torresian, and Cameron. Tonight, I would like to introduce and invite Nija Camarada, the Senior Director of Works Comp at the ASCAPE JPA. ASCAPE means Alliance of Schools for Cooperative Insurance Program. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank Nija and your team. Since we joined ASCAPE JPA, you help us transition and create a robust works comp program. Right now, I want to report to the board. As of right now, the number of outstanding works comp claim is a historical low since I joined the district. So obviously, this is a win-win transition, and we're very happy for Nija and your team's support. So here you are. Help us to present, explain what happened with this board agenda in the next 2, 4, and 5.
Good evening, President Gillian. Sorry if I mispronounced your last
That's
name.
close enough. Thank you.
Board members.
Please speak into the mic.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
we're filming this, so we like to catch it all. Thanks so much.
Superintendent Thoresian and Cabinet, thank you for giving me the pleasure to come and explain this state-regulated form to you. I'll do the best that I can. As Ms. Wu said, Monrovia Unified School District joined ASCIP, Alliance of Schools for Cooperative Insurance Program, a joint powers authority, on 7/1/2018 for workers' comp and property and liability. Prior to that, they were part of the San Gabriel Valley JPA, and the San Gabriel Valley JPA is planning to dissolve their workers' compensation, hopefully on March 31st, 2019. And we have to do some paperwork for the state of California. As you know, workers' comp is a state-mandated system. So the agenda item 4 is currently we have an interim affiliate number to join ASCIP. I'm going to say ASCIP, it's a long name. And so I'm asking item number 4 is the state of California needs a board resolution for you to join ASCIP permanently for claims in workers' compensation with dates of injury 7/1/2018 going forward. And that's the first board resolution. And number 5 is for your claims prior to 7/1/2018. As Ms. Wu say, you have right now about 26 open claims. Since you will be leaving that JPA, it's dissolving, you need to get the authority to have your own certificate to self-fund and handle your claims. They call them a runoff tail claims. And this is all state regulated by the Department of Industrial Relations, Office of Self-Insurance Plans.
Connie, do you want to take each item individually or together?
Since the board need to vote individually, yes.
Okay,
But they are related.
understood.
Are there questions, comments? Could I get a motion on the
Number four.
retroactive part?
Number 4?
Number 4.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff, would you take the vote?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Motion for the other.
Moved number 5.
Second.
All right, Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion
Thanks so
carries
much for
5-0.
being here tonight. We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate the
you.
information. Appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you for inviting me and thank you for recognizing. Thank you, Mr.
All right, then, going back to someplace on this agenda.
Number 1.
Action items, number 1, business service number 1, audit firm agreement.
Yes.
Ms. Wu.
Yes, good evening. Board of Education, the Ed Code required district for every 6 years, we will have either change the auditing firm for our financial statement or change the leading partner in charge of the district audit. So last school year is our current audit firms end of the cycle of the Ed Code requirement. So we send out RFP to all the CPA firm who is currently audited the legal public schools, and we get 4 RFP response. Based on response, we look at the proposal for the hour they work on the audit, and the fee, and the nature of the service, and the nature of the audit firms. And tonight, we will recommend the board to allow the district enter a contractual agreement with the audit firm called the Nigro and Nigro Professional Corporation. The reason we make such a recommendation is this company is a full-service audit firm. Not only do the public school financial statement audit, it also provides the tax service and public, non-public, and non-profit organization. So they have a broad experience and knowledge regarding the accounting. The second of all, the company compared with the other firms, the price is the least expensive, but the number of the hours the partner and senior clerk provide service on this audit is the most amount of hours. The other thing is we did an extensive reference check, and all the response is very solid regarding of the service, regarding the flexibility, and in addition, the firm also provides free training for ASB. As the board knows that we have a lot of ASB at secondary school, and the rule regulation is very strict, and there's cash involved. So before that, we send our ASB clerk to pay the training, but now we were able to, based on this agreement, we're able to provide free service. It's part of the contract agreement.
Who is our existing firm?
The existing firm is Mouse, Levy, and Hassan. They have been service for 6 years.
This firm we used before them.
Yes, you're right. It's before my time, long time ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not that long time ago. So I do remember when we used them the first time around. And this was the firm that we only stopped using them because the 6 years had run its course. And it's prudent for any organization to periodically change their auditing firm to make sure you have a fresh set of eyes, to make sure you're not missing anything. This firm was the firm that first identified when we were having problems with our ASB funds and was able to help us work our way through that particular problem. And I do not think we've had a problem in a while
Yeah.
with those particular funds. So outside of going to other people to say how they've done, I can tell you that when we used them, the experience was good.
Other comments or questions? So did I hear a motion in there somewhere?
I have a question.
Okay.
The RFP or this one from Nigro came back with estimated hours of 370.
That's correct.
Historically, how many hours have we used?
Okay.
Our auditor.
So our current auditor, they use 290. For the other proposal, is the other firm is 229, and the other firm is also 370.
Historically, how many hours have we had to use with our auditors?
It's
Maybe I didn't
290.
understand.
It's 290 hours total.
290. Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Huff, would you please take the vote?
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Ms. Wu, would you let us in on the meal rate increase?
Yeah. So, Board President, I would like to invite our Major Ken Singleton to present.
Board President Gilliland, board members, Dr. Tarosi, and cabinet members. As the food service director, I couldn't have anticipated what I faced this summer. Basically, with our frozen food vendor being the only show in town that's committed to school food needs, I was basically strong-armed, or the district was strong-armed out of a contract that was suitable for a district of our size. And so after that, they basically came to me and said, we're not making enough money off of you. And that was a contract that was in place prior to them absorbing the company, Lebo Foods, that folded in 17, yes. And so I attribute, we're facing some fiscal uncertainties for the end of this school year, and I attribute that directly to that increase in food costs. We did a audit of our P&Ls and our finances in January, and we do these monthly, but I just wanted to take a look at it and see where our largest increase. And from last year to this year, looking in January, we basically paid approximately $41,000 more in food costs than we did in the previous year. And so with Gold Star being the only provider in town, I've asked the school sites and the cafeteria managers to tighten their belts. And so we look low and high within our operations to run them as lean as possible. And when I look at it, I looked at our health care cost, and it didn't increase that much. But looking at the P&Ls for each school site, we had significant increases in the food, just as I suspected before I started analyzing it. And so I'm basically asking for support, and as our parents or families that do not have approved free and reduced meal applications on file are paying. Our alternate meal policy is doing a extremely well job of making sure that our parents who are supposed to be paying pay. And so we've tightened up our belts. The parents are paying. Basically our meal prices just haven't kept pace with the unforeseen cost of the food items.
Could you explain to us a little bit about how it comes about that there's only one food supplier? There are a million of food suppliers. So how does it come about that only one is able to meet our needs? Is it a matter of state certification? Is it a matter of interest in supplying schools?
It's a matter of legislation and product formulation for the food items. the requirement to have all of the grain items that we serve to students. They recently scaled it back or increased the flexibility with that. But up until this year, all of the grain products that are served to students have to be at least 51% whole grain enriched. There's a certain vegetable pattern that we have to put on the menu throughout. And we're not really having problems with vegetables because our commodity dollars, we've actually are on schedule to spend all of the commodity dollars that the USDA provides for districts based on meals served in previous years. So it's directly related to the frozen food that Gold Star provides. And larger districts, just to give you an example, one of my previous employers, Long Beach School District, those larger districts have the capacity to bring in different components of food and in their central kitchen make food items. We don't have that. We almost have to bring items in that have already been processed. And so because of limited freezer space, I basically have to bring things in and serve them. Otherwise we face, time and temperature problems. And so.
Thank you.
Yeah. In addition, board, this meal price only impacted paid meal students, and only if the paid meal students eat in our kitchen. So it's no impact for the free reduced meal students.
I wanted to ask has anyone attempted to go, I don't know to whom they would go, but has anyone attempted to go to someone and ask for a contract with another food provider or something like that? Because I'm not a lawyer and I can't speak on this legally, but this sounds like a monopoly. I mean, this is a market that has absolutely no competition. So we're beholden to this one company, and I don't feel comfortable with that. And I'm wondering if we have reached out to our representatives higher up the government chain, inform them of what the situation is, and ask them if what they can do to mitigate, if they can create another contract with another food provider or something like that.
And so we do have directors in our formation that are up on Capitol Hill lobbying for it is a monopoly. And so in lobbying for one of the things that I don't really support is that rolling back some of the advances that we've made in making other foods available. It's a little more difficult to get a whole grain pizza or whole grain macaroni that the students will eat, but the vendors have put a lot of work into making a palatable item that's whole grain and definitely healthier for us. There are lobbyists out there, and I can probably quote the Student Nutrition Associations and the California Student Nutrition Association out there looking into it. But at this point in this day, to make sure that our students have food for tomorrow, we're left with Gold Star. And so I'm just going to let you know that I'm always thinking out of the box. And so when Gold Star bought A&R, which was another frozen food provider who provided all of the line items, and then Lebo simultaneously filed bankruptcy, it left directors scrambling for food. And so often I would run into Brian Volt over next door. He's the director in Duarte, in Smart and Final, shopping for food. And so really, so I went to some of my internal resources and asked them, can they help with this problem? So I won't face that again. I basically have Swift Produce. They're my produce company. I never put all my eggs in one basket. I asked Swift Produce, can they take out a line of credit to help us out with this situation and offer a little healthy competition? And so right now, if that happens again, or if Gold Star shuts their doors, Monrovia will still receive food from one of the largest food providers, ConAgra Foods. in those times. So we are getting creative, and I've looked to Long Beach because they do cook chill items. I've looked to purchase things from them, but there's a plethora of hoops that you have to jump through with the USDA and have an inspector on site. So they didn't want to touch that. So we are looking at other avenues.
So our food has to be, the food at the school has to be USDA approved, right?
Yes.
So that means that the food that comes to our school is under which branch of government's purview? Federal?
Federal, yes.
Federal.
And
so
90%,
this is the federal government that
yes,
needs to.
Yes, 90%, I would venture to say 90% of my funding and a reimbursement, and we only receive reimbursement when students eat. And so it's incumbent upon me to keep our menus exciting. 90% comes from the federal government, and about 10% comes from the CDE, or the California Department of Education. So, and our reimbursement rates don't seem to keep pace.
Never have, yeah.
With the requirements.
It's real easy to pass requirements. It's real hard to pass. It's real easy to pass unfunded mandates. Let me put it that way. Not so easy to pass funded mandates. So,
yes, sir.
Other questions, comments? Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Huff, would you please take the vote?
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
I want to ask, we're approving the school meal rate increase of 25 cents for paid breakfast and lunch. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then yes, thank you.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to the second interim report, Ms. Wu. Thanks, Ken. We appreciate.
Good evening, board. We conducted the study section tonight about the district budget. Here is the summary of our study section. So Ed Code required district to submit a financial statement, and at this time is the second interim report. Second interim report was prepared according to Governor Newsom's January 1920 preliminary state budget. So I will keep going while the projector warming up. So there is some changes when governor released his preliminary budget for 1920 compared with the first interim report back to when we required board to approve in December. So the quota for the state funding each student increased from in the 1920-2021 school years. And the district STIR's contribution, which is the certificate employees retirement, actually decreased around 1% in the next 2 school year. And this year still same. That will save the district money, reduce the contribution. The third item is the routine restriction maintenance. The district required to set aside a certain percentage to maintain the district-wide facility. There's a surprise for next year's. The percentage required increase from 2% to 3%. As a result, the district required to set aside over $500,000 because of this requirement. So because of the change assumption, the district revised the multi-year projection, which is current year and next 3 years. I'm glad to report the board, due to the projection changes as well as the budget reduction, the district take action, this including the reduce the district office supply account starting this year and moving to next year. This year's 15%, next 2 years as 20% is ongoing. We were able to require the board to approve the self-positive certification, which means that the district were able to meet the current next 2 years budget obligations. So we'll continue the conversation because with the cost is increased with the student purse compensation as well as the health insurance, and the state only funding district at a quota basis, our costs definitely were higher, and then the revenue the district received from state, in addition to the declining the district has facing in a couple of years. So the next step is we will submit, after board approval, we submit to the county for a second interim report, and we will quantify and continue our budget reduction ideas and plans. And we will submit the detailed information for board approved discussion. And then when governor release the May revision, and we will use that May revision as a guideline to prepare, develop, or finalize the 1920 district budget. And the budget hearing we're required to do on the first board meeting in June, and then June 26th will be the final adoption. And I'm pretty sure that we will have a more budget discussion coming in the next couple of months. So any question from the board?
More of a comment, and this is for the edification of folks at home. This is the report that we had a meeting on prior to our meeting this evening at study session. This is the second interim report. The way the budgeting process works is that we send a balanced budget on July the 1st. There is a time in September and through October where that living document, as it's going and progressing through the year, sees if it's keeping up with the expectations of that we set for the money to be spent and that the money is being allocated appropriately. Now we are on our second in this living document that's saying that the funds that we made available and balanced our budget with are being spent appropriately and the money is coming to us appropriately. And this is where we find that it is not coming the right way. There was a significant sum of money, $156,000, that had to be adjusted. Those adjustments have been made. This is why we're sending this interim report to LA County, so that it'll ratify this document that says that your living document is now back in the budget, even though you had an unexpected cut of $150,000. And then we'll look forward to the governor doing his magic wand over the May revise that will solidify the rest of our year this year, that we have enough money to get through to June the 30th, where we'll be required by law to have a balanced budget going into July the 1st. We're working with a $60 million budget, and it seems that, the public, we're going to make a vote here in a few minutes to do either pass or not pass the second interim. There is a lot of work that goes into the budget process at the Monrovia Unified School District, and I would say in all school districts throughout California, it's all the same process. This is not just we look at it one time in June, pass it, and forget about it. This consumes hours and hours and hours of staff time to make sure that we're not only living within our means, but we have the money that's coming in that we're supposed to be, the money that the state said they were going to come to fund. So, Connie, thank you for the report. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed of where we were today on this. We're not approving a budget, we're just approving the amendment to the second interim report before we get to the May revise.
And I would like to add to that, the presentation is great. I appreciate staff's work to put this together. It almost doesn't do justice to the fact that we had to make mid-year cuts again. That $100 and whatever thousand, we had to say, okay, what budget items are we going to cut? And as we look into the future, we see, regardless of all the big statements about how much more money education is getting, what we see right now with the projections is we're going to be doing more cutting next year. So thanks for all the hard work, and we are where we are, and I appreciate staff over and over again helping us to look at our priorities and where we're spending our money, and only making cuts making as much of the cuts as we can away from what affects our students. So thanks.
With that, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I want to thank you for all of the work that you've done as Mr. Gilliland and Mr. Hammond have said, and also for spending so much time with me to help me go over this and understand this. For me and for the people at home, I want to clarify the work that you have done between the first interim and the second interim takes our budget from being qualified to being positive, correct? So that's a good thing. Being qualified means that we don't have enough money in reserve according to Ed Code.
Qualified means we're qualifying our answer. It's the easiest way to think about it. We don't have, we're not
we don't
there,
have what
so
we're
we're going
supposed
to
to have.
qualify. We're going to qualify our answer and say we'll get there by the end of the day.
But I just wanted to clarify that we have gone from qualified, which we don't want to be, to being positive, which is what we want to be. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you so much for helping us get there.
Other comments or questions? Could I have a motion? Oh, sorry.
Just be aware, if people are wondering, wow, this was kind of a short conversation, these are just the changes from the last time to this time. May, it's going to be again, and the conversations are going to get more and more in depth and focused on what we need to do for the upcoming year. This is just the beginning. And all this is subject to change based on what the state decides they are going to randomly take away from us in May and not give us any heads up. And then we're back at the chalkboard trying to scramble and make things balance. It's not unlike Ken's story of food, in which you have one provider, you get what you get, and you scramble from that point forward. So this is what we do every year, unfortunately, but we have a phenomenal staff that keeps us on top of things, and we really never get too far away. So once again, thanks to the staff.
I also would like to add something, reiterate everybody's comments here. Thank you and your staff for all the work that you do. For the public, we have a budget of $60 million, and that sounds like a heck of a lot of money. And when we take a hit of $156,000, you might think, well, that's not that much money. But every dollar is allocated, and $156,000 is a big hit to a district of our size. So I appreciate the cuts that you've made and the considerations that you've made with those cuts. So again, thank you for everything that you do.
Okay, could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 6, which is consultant agreement with Wanda Grant.
Yes. Good evening, Board. We just honor our Major Kensington as he has been called to active duty. But at the meantime, it is district responsibility to make sure that our food service department continue providing nutritious food for our students. So we would like to board to approve this agreement, which is with Wanda Grant. He was director of food service at Emory City in school district for 20 years, and she also served the Palm Springs Unified School District as a director of food service for another 5 years. And back to 0809, she earned a Distinguished National Outstanding Director of the Year award. So we want to bring her in only as need basis to provide additional professional development for our staff as required by their professional, and also answer some technical questions. And in the meantime, that's as one of the plan. We try to keep our department moving forward without a director, and we do not plan to hire a full-time director while Ken is leave on the military service.
Did we not bring this person in last time?
No, we did not. Last time.
Why do I know this name?
You may know these names from some other places, but you have good memory. And last time we do have a consultant. Her name is Jennifer Chan, and she is actually the director of food service at Glendale Unified School District. She was our former director, and she tried to help us to answer some questions and provided the technical support.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that the last time Ken was deployed, that we had brought somebody in to help us.
Yeah, we did. We did it. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Thank
Other
you.
question? Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Lockerbie?
Yes.
Board Member Travanti?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Gilliland?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to item 7, professional service agreement for network equipment. Mr. Provoke.
Good evening, President Gilliland, board members, cabinet, members of the public. I put together a small presentation just to give a little bit of an overview of E-rate before we move to the two agenda items, because they're both kind of related as it relates to E-rate funding. E-rate is funded on a 5-year cycle, and we are at the end of the 5-year cycle. The current cycle goes from 2014 to 2019. And during each cycle, what you don't use continues to roll over until you get to the very end. So this year is the end of the cycle, and we're in the use it or lose it cycle year. E-rate dollars are allocated by school sites, and we have approximately $131,000 left in our 5-year cycle of the school sites that have money left. And what you see listed are the school sites that have monies left for E-rate dollars. So we have 2 bids that I'm going to be presenting to the board. The project dollars that we have available is $131,000, $135,000, and $34,000. That is an estimate. These numbers can slightly go up. When it goes through the E-rate process, they will E-rate a certain amount of dollars. These E-rates are provided by the consultant, and they'll usually be very close. If it's any different, it might be $1,000 or $2 higher. Of the project dollars, if we move forward, E-rate would basically pay 80% of the project, of which the district would only have to pay 20% of the project, and that would be the breakdown. So I went out for bid for 2 projects. The bid results are $185,591.91 combined, of which the breakdown is network switches, in the amount of $143,038.27, and the web cache appliance for $42,553.64. So what we're planning to do is to basically apply for E-rate for that full amount, and if funded, what E-rate will likely say is you're approved for a maximum of $131. At that point, we can decide to scale down primarily the network project, so that we can spend what we're allocated for. Once E-rate approves, there are 2 scenarios that we're looking at. The first scenario is to move forward with the web cache appliance and the network switches. And in this scenario, what the district would do would be to purchase the web cache appliance. And after that is deducted from the total, whatever is left over, we'll be trying to purchase as many switches as possible within our approved funding. How I would be determining the web cache appliance purchase is by monitoring the network. The reason I did this is because right now we're at 60% utilization during peak hours. And that's generally considered in the technology world, that's when you have to keep an eye on it. Okay, and during testing, I'm guesstimating at this point that will be at high 60s. I won't know until we have the testing, but that will allow me to gauge whether or not we're going to need this next year, or when we'll need it next year. Santa Fe is about to add a few hundred more Chromebooks, which will also add to the total traffic as well. So the strategy here is to apply for the funding so that should we need it next year, we can purchase this device and have it partially funded by E-rate. Versus if we don't do this, then, oh boy, come February, March of next year, what do? We're peaking. We need to do something. And then now we're gonna have to pay for this device 100%. So this is more of a long-term strategy to basically say, you know what, we're gonna apply for E-rate for it, and if we need it, we can move forward with it. Should we not need the web cache appliance, then the strategy would be to not move forward with that purchase, and then to use that funding just to move forward with the switches only. And then the district would purchase as many switches as possible within our limit. And where we plan to put these switches is basically mainly in the computer labs of the qualifying schools. And the reason for that is because when we updated our wireless network, we were able to see a lot of things that are happening with our wireless network. I can pinpoint a lot of things that are going on. If somebody's using a lot of traffic, I can figure that out. Just at the robotics tournament, for example, in the morning on Saturday, they were reporting that the network was very slow. And the reason for that was because I gave the robotics priority. And very quickly, I was able to find out that, hey, there's one machine that's just downloading a bunch of updates. So I was able to slow that machine down, and everybody had enough traffic to move on with the robotics tournament. That's the type of visibility that's very hard to see with our wired infrastructure, because that functionality was not available back then. So those are the type of things that I'm looking forward to putting into certain parts of the network, primarily the computer lab, so that when things are happening, we can troubleshoot better, we have greater visibility, we have higher security. Any questions with that before?
Can I ask a couple questions, make sure I'm understanding correctly? So the first thing is, these dollars are use it or lose it, right? At this particular point in time, neither one of those issues are in a critical spot in which we have to replace it or else. We're just trying to maximize our existing dollars.
That's correct.
So you had two separate bids, right? One was for the cash appliance and the other was for switches. So the switches, the cost for a particular switch is about $4,200 to $4,500, somewhere in that range.
When you add all the taxing, licensing, and everything, it's about $4,700.
So $4,700. So if you go backwards in your presentation, right? So you had set aside $143,000. That number you picked was under the assumption of if we did the total number of switches for all the sites. Is that correct? That we're eligible.
Correct.
Right? So clearly the 143 is a number that we're never going to get to because we only have $131,000, right? And that's really made up of a number of $4,700 for rounding numbers, switches, and we can do a variance of that, right? It's from 1 to 100 switches or whatever number of switches we want till we use up those funds.
That's great. 30 switches, correct.
And then the web cache appliance is a singular item in which it's a use it, either you buy it or you don't buy it, a singular item.
That's correct. But because we have eligible...
And that's for 5 years versus, and there's some accounting issues, but the bottom line is you're looking for $42,000, which is a thumbs up or down number, right?
That's correct.
And that cache appliance, what that does is it pretty much cuts our traffic close to in half. So if we're at 60% bandwidth, it would drop us down to 30% for simplicity's sake.
For simplicity's sake, yes.
Right?
In the school sites that are eligible.
So clearly if we're at 60% at peak hours, it's not something that we have to have, but it would be great to have since it is something we need to spend funds on. So my question is, based on that information, is it more important for us to have the web cache appliance and utilize that first, because clearly we have events at the high school that can spike up, right? Or is it better for us on a long-term basis to have all of our E-rate dollars spent on switches and wait till the next funding cycle to do the cache appliance when we need it? Which one of those two are you prioritizing as more important to put our first dollar to work at?
As of today, I would say the web cache appliance. And the reason for that is because in this E-rate cycle, in 2014, they made a lot of rule changes in E-rate. And there are districts that are happy, and there are a lot of districts that are unhappy. So as of today, they have not released the new rules yet for the next cycle. I have no idea what the next cycle is going to look like. So based off of that, I have no idea if I'll be able to be able to purchase a web cache appliance and have it covered under E-rate in the future.
Okay, so if that's the case, if we're going to anticipate some unknown areas, meaning that this may not qualify for future cycles, and we start with the concept that you're going to spend the first $42,553 of this on the cache appliance, right? So then that's going to leave us 90,000 plus or minus for switches.
That's correct.
And then those switches will go to whatever the appropriate schools are based on the funding amount that they've put into the pot.
Correct.
If I
That's
understand
allocated by
correctly.
school site. Correct.
That's allocated. Okay, so if we were to do that, so you're really not asking for $143,000 of switches. You're really asking for $90,000 of switches, which is going to amount to 20-something switches, give or take.
That's based on my opinion today. But here's the thing. New rules are probably going to be coming out over the summer. And depending on what the new rules are, that opinion might change. It may be, hey, we don't need the web cache appliance because maybe I can have it covered at all school sites the next funding year. Let's just go for switches.
So you're not asking for us to approve a specific acquisition at this point in time, but only for us to approve an umbrella of the potential acquisitions that you will make at a future point in time. Is that correct?
That's correct. It'll be pending E-rate approval because I have to apply for E-rate at this time.
But as of today, you would say we would do 42,000 on the web cache appliance, 90,000 on switches, if you were to make that purchase today and if the E-rate was approved. But once it's approved, you have till what point in time?
Not this summer, but the following summer.
So you have till next summer to evaluate our situation and make those purchases based on whatever future rules may bring.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
And so if we pass both of these measures here tonight, then you have the authority to go to E-rate and say, this is what we need to buy. We would like to have 185 and 591, and they will then allow us the maximum that they're going to give us.
That's correct.
And then the actual purchase will only be that amount that fits in what E-rate actually provides to us.
That's correct. It's always best to apply for more money than to apply for less because you can't ask for more. You can always
And the
scale
money
down.
that they approve is generic money, meaning that if you put in a bid for 143 and 42, they come back with an answer of 131. They say you get 131 and you can use it however you deem appropriate, or do they approve the dollar amount based on what your application is? Meaning they say we approve all 131 for network switches and 0 for cache appliances. Do they itemize what those dollar amounts are for? Or is it just general funds, here's your total dollar amount, you get to do whatever you want with it as long as it is one of those two items that you submitted?
There's basically three scenario. The three scenarios is one, they just approve the network switches and not the web appliance, at which case we know now, then we move forward with switches if we need it. The second scenario is they just approve the web cache appliance and not the network. And then the third scenario is they approve both, and then they say you have to figure out how you want to allocate your funds between the two projects.
So they could do any one of those three.
Any one of those three. But I would like to say that my success rate right now, in my years of doing this, I've never had a scenario where scenario 1 or 2 has ever happened.
And your assessment of what's coming, I mean, this cycle ends in 19. Is there going to be a next cycle for E-rate?
I would like to think yes. because everybody pays for it in their telephone bills. The question is, how are they going to allocate those funds? In 2014, they said they were going to phase out mobile phones, and that's why we're looking at data plans and mobile phones. They may say that something is eligible now, but other things aren't eligible. At one point, hooking up a projector was eligible, and a lot of the monies were used up for that. But now that's not eligible, so I have no idea what the new rules are going to look like.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. Sorry, they're very basic. What are network switches?
Network switches, basically, if at home, everybody has a router. And a router is really what directs traffic, but it's also, think of it as a splitter. What a switch is basically the splitter part of it without the router, because we have one centralized router. And it basically hooks up all the devices, laptops, computers. They all ultimately hit a switch. All our wireless access points that you see here, the wires go somewhere, and they all go to a switch. So think of it as basically the hubs where traffic goes through. Everything has to go through a switch, and we have a lot of them out there.
And what is a web cache appliance?
So a web cache appliance is a network device that optimizes our internet connection. And what it does is it looks at the most commonly requested web page, graphics. It looks at all the data that's flowing through. And what it does is that it captures it, and then it gives the devices that same information without having to go into the internet. So for example, if I were to go to the high school and update the whole computer lab, right now as it is, you have a lab of 30. If you have to download 30 updates, it's requesting the same 30 updates from Apple 30 times. What the web cache appliance would do is say, hey, this has been requested 2 times already. Wait a minute, 3 times. I'm going to save it. So now if another computer requests that same information, that web-based, that cache appliance is now going to be delivering that information to that Apple computer so that it doesn't use up our internet pipeline.
And my last question is, you talked about peak hours. Is that peak hours geographically in this area, or is it peak hours just district traffic that you're looking at?
Peak hours, just district traffic. That's typically between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., and another peak between about 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Do we consider that when we take benchmark testing and SBAC testing and stuff like that? I mean, do we consider the internet traffic?
Yes, we do. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this, because I know what the traffic was last year. I know what it is currently. I'm estimating high 60s during SBAC testing, but I'm going to continue to monitor that. That's why we're at the 60% mark now. We have to monitor it. We'll know next year as we add more devices from Santa Fe, and as I see how the testing goes during this SBAC testing cycle, we can determine, do we really need it or not.
I have, actually, that was part of it, Celine, so thanks for asking that question about the peak hours and the traffic and all that, because I do know of a scenario at one of our school sites that when SBAC testing came around, they had to spread it out over 4 weeks of SBAC testing, and by the time, kids were getting through that, the last week, it was just, they were gone, they were not focused anymore, and that could have hurt our results. And when I asked why it was spread over, it was because the usage of the internet, it just slows everything down, and you're trying to take SBAC testing, and it ends up pushing it to the next day. So because I am technology challenged, what is going to help here? Is it the switches, or is it going to be the cache when it comes to SBAC testing?
When it comes to SBAC testing, it would be the web cache, because what would happen is that the most common, they'll look at the common traffic, and then it'll be delivering the common traffic to the devices as opposed to using up our internet pipeline.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just one thing, it's in the report, and then you used the word again when you answered Brian. and that's what caught my attention. What is qualifying schools?
Those are the qualifying schools that have E-rate dollars left. So the switches that we would be purchasing, or the web based the web cache appliances, they would only be applied to these school sites.
So in other words, if we needed it at Santa Fe, they wouldn't qualify for E-rate.
Correct.
And is that because their allocation has already been dispersed?
That's correct. It's been dispersed in the past year because of wireless upgrades.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments? Do we need to take these separately, or can we take them together?
I'd like to take them separately, and I'd like to make note that I'm going to list the CMAS contract and the contract numbers as well for E-rate purposes. So the district would, can I go ahead with the first item?
Move adoption of number 7.
Second.
Professional service agreement.
Second.
The district would like the Board of Education to approve this professional service agreement with Cybertech in the amount of $143,038 and 28 cents, quoted under the CMAS contract 3-10-70-2387C, so that we can apply for E-rate approval.
Would you like to make that motion, Mr. Hammond?
Sure I will.
Okay, good.
I will. Yep, I sure did.
All right, could we have the vote, please, Ms. Huff?
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board Member Hammonds,
Yes.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes, and Mr. Pavukian, what would you recommend the board do on the second item?
The district would like the Board of Education to approve this professional service agreement with Borderland under the NASPO contract, number 7-15-70-34-008, in the amount of $42,553.64, so that we can apply for E-rate approval.
Could I have a motion?
I have one quick comment, and I'm not really sure how the E-rate application goes, but if there is the ability or need to prioritize which of these is more important to us, and I think that you described that this is more important, please note that this is where we want our first dollars to come from and the remaining portion to come from the switches. I don't ever want to put it in somebody else's hands to determine what they think we should be spending our money on.
Was that a second?
Was that a motion?
That's my motion. Do that you want.
I'll second that.
All right, Ms. Huff, please take the vote.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Wong,
Yes.
Board Member Lockerbie,
Yes.
Board Member Travanti,
Yes.
Board President Gilliland.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move on to pending board issues. Dr. Thorosian.
Thank you, President Gillen. Members of the board, I'd like to note one of the newer items on the pending board issues, and that is the team building dates, and I think we've secured one. Please mark your calendars for April 19. Location to be determined. In addition, I would like the board's, at the board's direction, I can draft a letter on the behalf of the board and the district in support of AB Assembly Bill 428 as introduced regarding special education funding, and draft a letter for President Gilliland to sign on the board's behalf.
Is everybody okay with that letter?
Yes.
All right, and I would propose that we give that to our city officials so they know what our stance on that legislation is.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Are we going to give it to representatives further up?
Yes.
That's who it'll be to, yeah. All right, old business. Is there anything else on pending board issues? No? All right, old business. Regular board meetings are the next two are March 27th and April 10th, and then we're adding April 19th to our list of meetings, and that'll be a special meeting for team building. Anything else under old business? New business, we have a boardwalk at Santa Fe. We have open houses throughout the months of March and April, and many, many other dates to calendar. It's a busy time of year in the schools, and those are all listed in the agenda. Anything else under new business? Hearing nothing, nothing else, we would like to close tonight's meeting in honor of Paul W. Dawes. Paul was the father of MHS teacher Paul Dawes and father-in-law of Plymouth ES teacher Lisa Dawes. Paul was 80 years old, and he will be missed. With that, the meeting is adjourned at 9:15.